Hello and welcome to SweetSpotDFS. This is a DraftKings lineup construction video for the 2020 3M Open. What do I do in these videos? Well, obviously I create lineups, but I do it by looking at the bucket system, which is a process pretty much unique just to me. There might be a reason behind that, but it is pretty successful that I found out. I tier golfers by salary. I look at their stats, their grass stats, their swing stats, your swing metrics, the shots gained or strokes gained. And then I also look at Time Pairings to try to find a little bit of an edge when constructing lineups. And I will construct lineups at the end of the video. I'm going to pull up the spreadsheet for you guys to look at because I do want to remind you first that you can watch us in a faster speed. If you are on desktop, drag the mouse over the screen, you'll find a gear icon right down here. Drill down on that, you'll find playback speed. I prefer 1.5. You could choose 2 times speed and cut the video in half. On mobile, you'll find that top right-hand corner, 3 dots that make a vertical line. Drill down there, you'll find playback speed. I'll also have timestamps in the description. So what are you looking at right now? This is the notes page for the 3M Open. It harbors the bucket system. The bucket system is a collection of finishing positions for your top 5 golfers of a particular year and your top 10 golfers of a particular year. Basically, in 2019, for the 3M Open, we have golfers who finished inside the top 5. Let me say it a different way. We had 3 golfers who finished inside the top 5 who did not play the week before. That would be how this bucket system would say, how it would read. Now, if once 2020 concludes, we will have stats for the last year bucket. But because this tournament is only 2 years old, this is the second year it's being played, we don't have results we can look back at. So we don't have a top 5 for 2020 just yet because the tournament hasn't concluded. But once it does, we can look at what their finishing position was at this tournament last year. And obviously, well, I shouldn't say obviously. I mean, it'll depend. But let's say we had numbers in here similar to this. Say there was a 3 here. We would then say we had 3 golfers inside the top 5 who didn't play last year. Simple as that, right? And that's how this would all read. But because we don't have any stats here, it's really difficult to even have a bucket system for the 3M Open. What I ended up doing was actually collecting the cumulative data from the last 5 tournaments that we've played, which is the start of the restart, basically. Charles Schwab Challenge, all the way to the Memorial. This is all the top 5 stats for each of those years that those tournaments had been played, from 2013 on to 2020. Rocket Mortgage Classic is the only tournament that did not have any stats prior to 2019, because this, just like the 3M Open, started last year. But as you can see, these numbers are pretty large. That is a cumulative number based off of the tournament. And just to prove that point, this is the Memorial. I have the Memorial up. That is this number here, which is obviously the sum of all of these numbers within here. So that would equal 8. And I have that right here. Now I do that for the top 10. And if you were following me on Twitter, you would have seen a screenshot of this, which is summing all these numbers up and putting them here in these ranges: 1st to 20, 20 to 40, 40 to 60, 60 to 80, 80 plus, and did not play. So then with those numbers, I basically then take this number, divide it into the sum of all of them within that bucket to get me a percentage. So that's what we're going to be working with. Those are going to be our buckets. Our last year bucket 1 are golfers who did not play. Our last year bucket 2 are golfers who finished 1st to 20 the year before. And last year bucket 3 is 80 plus, which is basically missed cuts and withdraws, and so on and so forth. So if you see the numbers here, that represents what the last year bucket is going to be. And likewise for the last week bucket. So let's see what that looks like on the spreadsheet. You can see Dustin Johnson is the last year bucket 1. He did not play here last year. He did play last week and he missed the cut. So that 85 represents a missed cut. He is a 1-2 is what I would say. You can see Brooks Koepka is a 6-6, which is not good. I shouldn't continue to talk like that, but anyways. Yeah, 6-6, not good. We'll go a little bit further into this when we start creating lineups, but that was basically the overview of the bucket system. So the next thing that I want to talk about is pricing or price tiers or tier. Yeah, price tiers. I wanted to say like tier pricing. That works. I don't know why that sounded weird in my head. So we'll talk about tier pricing. And I like to create 3 tiers. I haven't done this long enough to determine if there should be more, but at the present moment I create 2. I create 3. And how I started off is I take the top 2 golfers on the salary leaderboard. So that would be Dustin Johnson at 11.5 and Brooks at 11.2. I bring them over to my lineup construction page, which has DJ and Brooks right here, as you can see. I look to see how much is left over. It's 6,800. So right away, I'm thinking to myself, okay, 68 is probably going to be the start of tier 3. That's how I kind of do this test is put the top 2 and whatever the remaining salary is, that's going to be the beginning of tier 3. I like to try to figure out what's at the bottom of tier 1. And how I do that is I take that top golfer and I pair them up. I've done this enough that I kind of know it's around the $9,000 range. So I'll just mess around, or I'll try to add golfers to it to find 6,800 basically. And just to speed things up, that ends up being Harris English and Eric Van Rooyen. So you can see, Eric Van Rooyen, $8,800. Obviously, there's no one tied with him, and nobody is above him except for Harris English. So again, you can see Harris English, Eric Van Rooyen with Dustin Johnson, 69. So again, 68 would work here, but so would 69. One last test I like to do is grab from Eric Van Rooyen up the next 4 golfers to see what that price ends up being, which ends up being 6,800. So 6,800 is the beginning of tier 3. And the bottom of tier 1 is 8,800. That's Eric Van Rooyen. So that just leaves 87 to 6,900. That's tier 2. So those are my 3 tiers. Those are the tier pricing. So that's it. That is that segment that I was going to talk about. Now, why, to me, tiering is important because it also finds my ownership for each player in their tier, because I only compare golfers to their tier. I don't compare them to the other tiers. And I'm not going to get into it, but I do have ownership numbers here. Actually, let me open this up. As you can see, there's a lot of numbers here. These are all calculations that I'm doing. So if I were to cover all of these up, basically this column P where it says I, this would be ownership based off of the tier, only according to what the score is right here. Or I'm sorry, the average score is right here. So the average score obviously is between the 2 buckets. And I'm going to explain that one really quick because I feel like if I don't, I'm not going to do you guys any justice. So let me bring the calculator over. I'm going to take, we know DJ is a 1-2, if you recall. So the last year bucket 1 right here, I'm going to take this percentage. So 34.47. So 0.3447. We're actually going to times it by how many lineups you're going to create. For me, it's going to be 100 lineups. Now, in those 100 lineups, there are 6 positions, meaning there are 600 available positions. So this percentage times 600 gets me 206.82. 206.82 rounds up to 207, and 207 ends up being that LYB score. So that obviously explains what the LYB score is. You can automatically assume that's exactly what I do for the last week bucket score. And those 2 numbers combined equals the average. And then I take this number, divide it into the total number of tier 1 to get me basically a percentage. So based off of his buckets, that determines for me how much more popular, or how much basically the probability he's going to find the top 10 more so than anyone else in that range. So, or I shouldn't even say against the range, but within that range, he has an 18% chance to make the top 10. That's essentially what it is for tier 1 golfers. Then I do some more calculations. So I will actually go ahead. I'm going to hide these columns here and keep these ones open. ATE means all things equal. So if we were just looking at, we weren't looking at bucket score, we were looking at stats. If I'm using just stats and comparing against themselves, so these are golfers with top 20 stats. Dustin has 5 top 20 stats in this field, and it's top 20 just based in this field. It's not top 20 on tour. It's not top 20 in the world. It's just top 20 in this field. So he's got 5 of those stats. So all things we equal, 5 divided into this number is going to get me 5. Tony Finau gets a little bump. So does Paul Casey. Russell Henley. All things equal. Let me bring something up really quick, because now I'm starting to kind of doubt myself. I don't really recall what all things equal are. I thought I had this all in my head. Oh, and I don't even have it up here. Shoot. I am pretty sure all things equal do not look at the bucket system. I'm almost positive that is what that is. But if Russell is in the top 20 for 9 stats, him having a number of 4 doesn't make any sense to me. I'm almost positive this just goes by stats. It goes by... Does it go by the number all the way over here? 17. Well, shoot. How did I... All right, well, don't mind me. I'm not going to waste your time in trying to figure out what it was. I should have kept all of my formulas in here, but for the video, I like to filter and stuff like that. And if I were to filter with formulas in there, it's just going to give me a big error. So that's why I didn't do it. But I know this doesn't include... Oh, I am... Okay. It's the same thing. So it's not based off of tier. It's based off of everything that I just discussed. It is the bucket system, everything, but it looks at the entire field. It doesn't just go by tiers. Oh my gosh. Thank God I remembered. And then my sweet spot number actually is a very... It's not complex by any means, but it takes into account top 20 stats. The all things equal do not. But sweet spot number takes in the buckets. It also takes in the top 20 stats, how many top 20 stats somebody has, and determines it based off of that. And actually, certain stats are a little bit more. So this actually, let me explain what it is. It's last year bucket, last week bucket. Here, we can go all the way over here. Last year bucket, last week bucket, overall grass. So if they're top 20 in overall grass, or I'm sorry, if their overall grass average is less than 59, I gave them a 2, otherwise I gave them a 0. Now I could weight this a little bit differently and give them a different number if I wanted to. I do that also with the 2020 grass. So obviously 59 was the number for whatever reason that I felt appropriate. Off the tee, if it was greater than 0, I gave you a 10. If you had positive putting, positive strokes gained putting stat, I gave you 10. And then I just added all of the top 5 stats that a golfer had. And then I added all of it up, and based off of their tiers, again, this is a calculation into their tier. That's how I created my ownership model off of that. Complicating, I understand, but that was the quickest way I could probably do that. Okay, so I don't really need to discuss top 20 stats. I did that in the preview. We went through all of it in the preview. I would say go back to the preview to find that out. But just so you have some kind of visual aid, if I were to keep Dustin Johnson here, all this dark green, all the dark green numbers, those represent top 20 stats. And I guess let's just keep Dustin Johnson highlighted. It says 5. I go over course history, recent form, overall bent, so there's 1. 2020 bent, we don't have 1. Tee to green, there's 2. Off the tee, there's 3. Birdie or better, there's 4. And I swear I did not do driving distance. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. I must have included all of the stats. So driving distance would have been 1. We can double check that here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9. Tony Finau has 10. Where's the 10th? Where's the 10th stat? I have a phantom stat somewhere. I have no idea where. 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. Where's the 10th one? I mean, I suppose this would be 10. I don't think I did that. Anyways. That would be the top 5 stats. Man, that's really going to bother me, guys. Honestly, I hate that. 1, 2, 3. So Brooks has 3, and he should have 3. Oh, he's top of course history. I know that for sure. 23 is just a number based off of the color scheme. If I were to go ahead and same with recent form average, I'm pretty sure. Maybe not. Okay, so not recent form, but course history, yes. So this number I didn't update, so that's why Tony Finau has 10. I'd have to yeah, and that's okay. Okay, holy crap. You know, I make these, I update this spreadsheet on a Monday, make my preview video on a Tuesday, and a lot of stuff fleets my head by Wednesday. So I apologize for not having all this information right in front of me. But yeah, we have our top 20 stats. Okay. Let's look at pairings. Now, this would be kind of the last bit that I do when constructing lineups. I would look at this last. I do all that other stuff first. I do the price tiering first. I do the bucket system first. I do all that stuff. I look at all in the stats. I look at all that stuff first, and then I'll come here and look at golfers that I like and pair them up. So we could look at our ownership model and say these top 2 guys, you know, they're actually playing together. That is why they're the thumbnail. But I could do something like this, or find somebody else that I like, you know, Harris English. Okay, so I could find a 25. Here, how about this? We'll go from Lucas Glover up, since that is 10. And we'll just go from here, find who they're playing with, and highlight them as well. So we actually have one, DJ, Tony, Tommy Fleetwood. In our 16s, we have Henley, Chesson Hadley, and Xinjun Zhang, which actually those golfers are not terrible. Eric Van Rooyen, this is a Minnesota connection, by the way, if you guys didn't know. Eric Van Rooyen golfed at the University of Minnesota. Tom Lehman is from Alexandria, Minnesota. Tim Herron is also a Minnesota guy, and I'm not positive exactly where he's from. But his nickname is Lumpy, and you could drink Lumpy's beer. It's not good. Like, no offense to Tim Herron, but that beer is not good. But yeah, that is a Minnesota connection. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I mean, maybe. I don't mind playing like a Tom Lehman, but yeah, I don't like that. I do like Patrick Rogers. So I'm going to go ahead, highlight this kind of like a light yellow. Just like, hey, I kind of like these guys. Scrolling down, looking at some people. I know some people are on Will Gordon. This whole group, not terrible. They very, very big potential for these guys. I should say very big, but they do have potential. 25, Harris English playing with Denny McCarthy and Dylan Fratelli. It's not terrible. I do like Fratelli. I don't like that he's a 5'4", and I don't like that McCarthy's a 4'5". So I'm not sure exactly how I feel about that, but still. Matthew Wolf is playing with Brandon Grace and Max Homa. Homa being a 6'2", not very good, but I am actually going to highlight these guys regardless. I do like Brandon Grace. 35s, I mean 35 through 36, why don't we just highlight it all? So in our 35s, you have Paul Casey, Bubba Watson, Pat Perez. I like that. Pat Perez being a 5'1" doesn't really deter me because he is a last week 1. So the 5 doesn't really bother me. The next group, probably not the greatest, honestly. Troy Merritt, Lucas Glover, and Ryan Armour. I'm not really digging that one. Not feeling it at all. Do we see anybody else that pops out? I know Johnny Vegas is a... Oh, this is actually not a bad group right here. I know Johnny Vegas is a popular pick amongst some people. I also like Charlie Hoffman, so both of those golfers decent to complete your lineup with. I know Sam Burns is kind of a popular golfer for this week. Let's go ahead and highlight that group because Ben Martin and Scott Harrington, very capable golfers, very talented. I like Wyndham Clark. I don't know how I feel about his playing team. I'm not gonna. I don't care. Yeah, I'm not really seeing anything else. So I'm gonna leave it just at that. So who do we have? I guess when we construct our lineups, I mean, this no surprise to me here. I guess, and then if we want to look at like top stats, Doc Redman shows up. So I guess let me color these guys in red and see who their playing partners are. Will Gordon, like I said, he was a top guy for a lot of people. I do like Seamus Power. Like, that's actually a decent... So, Seamus Power going off first with Henrik Norlander and Scott Brown. It's not terrible. So, I'm actually going to change this to yellow. Emiliano Grillo, Kyle Stanley, Roger Sloan. Another good pairing there. So, let's go ahead and color those guys in. I don't care about really Harmon, McNeil, and Haas, so I'm just going to leave that as is. I do like Matthew Naismith. That goes with Alex Cheka. Might as well highlight these guys as well. And we can come back during the review video and see how these guys did. I'm just going to leave it like this. We'll determine what this looks like when during the review video. Sorry. Doc Redman playing with Fabian Gomez and Sean Stephanie. Sure. Why don't we highlight it? Maybe one of these guys is a good 6K play. Will Gordon, Bram, and yeah, we already knew. Actually, yeah. I'm gonna keep these red. I should have kept the guys up top as red as well. I think it's all of these guys, right? We'll keep them. We'll keep them red. Okay. Is that everyone? Johnson Wagner, Danny Lee, Robbie Shelton. Sure. Not terrible. Okay. So that's gonna be everyone. I'm not going to go much further into that. What I will say this, I have added those, some of these guys that are playing together over here, and that's exactly who these guys are. I did tell you I was only going to play one Brooks lineup, so let's go ahead and create that one Brooks lineup right now. So there's Brooks. I could go by the SweetSpot number and add somebody to him. Let's go Seamus Power. Seamus Power is playing with Henrik Norlander, so why don't we pair those guys up together? This will be tier 2. I might need a tier 1 golfer, so I'll put him tier 2. I really like Patrick Rogers, so I'm going to add Patrick Rogers right here. I don't think I can play Tony Finau. That's too much, but we could play someone like Harris English. And ooh, no. 65's too little. I don't mind playing someone like Christopher Ventura. We'll throw that here. And now we have 8,200 left. We play someone who's 79 or 78. So Chris Kirk. That's probably too much red. I won't lie. How about Charlie Hoffman? We'll make a pivot to Charlie Hoffman. And leave $800 on the table. Not a bad lineup. I don't mind it. So we're going to go with this for our Brooks lineup. We might change it a little bit. Not positive, but that's how we're going to keep it. Now, that's obviously a Brooks lineup. I want to play as much. So I'll put these as this is right here. I want to put as much Paul Casey and Bubba Watson together probably, or I guess here, I'm going to clear this out because this was just showing you what my tiers are. If I put Paul Casey and Bubba Watson, it gives me quite a bit of salary to work with. So $7,500 left. I can put my low guys. I could put like a Chase Seifert, Seamus Power. I like Seamus Power so much, so I might as well put him down. That leaves us with $7,800 left. I could probably put a Harris English down. Have a third tier 3 golfer. Whoops. Leaves us with $7,200 left. That's probably an easy Hoffman for me. And now I have $7,100 left. I could put Chase Seifert down. And obviously this is going by my sweet spot model, so I could grab anybody, honestly. Does not matter whom. Let's see, Charlie Hoffman, 41. I could change. How about this? I'll put Vegas where English is. Now I have $8,200 left. I could play someone like Chris Kirk again. That's probably too much Chris Kirk. How about Will Gordon? We were just kind of just hyping him up. Leaves us with $500 left. So to me, I don't care about getting to the 50%. I want to get guys who have great numbers overall. And if I have any issues, I can also sort by like top 10 stats and try to find somebody else that I like that might be low price, like a Chesson Hadley. So instead of playing Seamus Power, I could play Chesson Hadley. Perhaps maybe that's what I should do up here. And I mean, it just gives me this whole mix, and then I can also find which golfers are paired together. So Paul Casey, obviously Bubba Watson, Hadley and Henley. So maybe in one of my lineups, I can go something like this. Wait, that was Hadley, and I can go with Henley here. Excuse me. So we can put those guys like that. Actually, you know what? I can put him here. And maybe I just go something like this. See what this would look like. 6,900 left. It's not terrible. We could put Grillo. Not having a lot of light green in my player pool here. Could go Johnson Wagner, 4,100. Or, geez, 4,100. I look at 4-1. That's 6,600. Could put Seamus Power in there again. Looks like I can't get away from Seamus Power. Yeah, really nothing with the light greens. All of our light greens are about $8,000 and above. Put someone like Hudson Swafford in there. So that lineup works. I mean, we can do many different ways to create lineups. But yeah, I guess my favorite lineup, if I was to create one for you, it's going to be here. Now, my favorite plays are Patrick Rogers. Really like Patrick Rogers. $7,200 left. I like Charlie Hoffman. I can't get away from Charlie Hoffman. I like Charlie Hoffman. 7,200. I'm going to take a chance on Christopher Ventura. And 71. A lot of good players down here. Chris Baker is a talented golfer. We'll go with Matthew Naismith. So I like this lineup. Probably not my absolute favorite. Where are all of the twos? Honestly. Matthew Wolf leads it. Lucas Glover's next. So we do have some guys down here in the 6K range. Sean Stephanie, Roger Sloan. That's right. Who are they play? I'll have to go back in the video and take a look. Wyndham Clark, I would say, is probably one of my favorite last year 2 plays. Same with Sam Burns. In all reality, I also don't mind Matthew Wolf or Lucas Glover. So let's grab a Sam Burns and see what we could do with the lineup with Sam Burns in it. I'm going to start with Paul Casey, Bubba Watson. I just want to see what it'll look like. 7,100. Yeah, it just automatically just drops down so much. I'm just going to keep grabbing Charlie Hoffman. I could probably grab Chesson Hadley, but I'm just going to grab Charlie Hoffman. By the way, I also really like Tony Finau. But I guess if all things are equal, I mean, find a lower price guy this way. I mean, still Seamus Power shows up quite a bit. Austin Cook shows up now. Not terrible. Already have a 3. I'm not going to add another 3. Scott Harrington is playing with Sam Burns. Perfect. There we go. So now I have $7,300 left. I could play Christopher Ventura again. Play Grillo. Stuart Sink. Man, I really don't care for some of these golfers. Who did we have in that lineup? Harrington, Hoffman. Who are you playing with, Hoffman? 41. Can we find a 41 down here? Charles Schwartzel. I believe the other one is down here as well. Oh. Johnny Vegas. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm going to put Schwartzel here. Whatever. So we have $600 left. That's paired up with Hoffman. Sam Burns is paired up with Harrington. So this is a whole pairing right here. I guess you guys just saw my player pool of who I like. I am going pretty strict by the sweet spot. You know, so I would say if I were to create my pool, put those guys there, and then if all things are equal, put my top guys here as well. And then what I want to do is count if K through K equals K2 or K3. So I guess if I have 2 or more, we got to get rid of 1. Let's go by this first. There we go. And then go by this second. So I know this is probably actually what I'm going to do. If you guys didn't know how to do this, really the only way that you can escape something like this is by numbering them like this. So wherever there is a, so then we'll go here and sort the range. That, get rid of all the 2s. Delete that. And there's my player pool. Basically, player pool of 27 golfers. Not terrible. If I was to create 10 lineups, I would definitely be selecting golfers somewhere in here. But I end up creating 100 lineups, so I will just be using the sweet spot number to its full effect, which means if we were to do that, my highest owned guy is going to be Paul Casey. Next will be Bubba Watson, Harris English, Tommy Fleetwood, Dustin Johnson, Matthew Wolff, Tony Finau, Eric Van Rooyen, Russell Henley, so on and so forth. So, but that doesn't, so this number is based off 150 positions. Each one of them, all of my tiers are off of 150. It used to be 200, 200, 100. It's all off 150. So I will basically have 150 positions open that I can place in whoever I want myself. It's going to be based off of how much salary is remaining. So really, this number could be a lot larger. I will be comparing it against this number. And if, say, obviously Tommy Fleetwood, the bucket system wants me to use Tommy Fleetwood more than the stats do. And in all honesty, this isn't a very fair depiction because Tommy Fleetwood doesn't have stats. We go across. He has not played enough. He does not have enough PGA starts to actually have stats. So just keep that in mind. But I think since you guys are, that's essentially all I am going to talk about in this video. I gave you my player pool. I showed you ways that how I'm going to construct lineups. I gave you a couple lineups that I constructed, and how to start some of the lineups up or with. But with that, I think I'm going to end the video. This is a lot shorter than it typically is, which is probably better. Probably for the better. So I want to thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, please leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Also, turn the notification bell on. It's very much appreciated. So with that, I'm going to say I hope you guys do well this week and win a lot of money because I intend to do the same. Have a good one.